Hello, this is a new series for the popular card game Magic the Gathering. My name is Josh. I started Magic the Gathering in the Odyssey set a couple years ago, but I stopped playing after I left to go to college. And recently I got back into it during Gate Crash. I'm doing this series basically to see if I can create some interesting decks from a random starting pool of cards in this mode called Quest Mode. I want to play until I get 100 wins, and I will have an overlay later on the top of your screen to show how well my quest is going. This program is called MTGForge. It is a very beautiful program written in Java. The guy who made it, I don't really know what his name is. He sometimes refers to himself as just some guy. The website is mtgrares.blogspot.com. I will post that link in the description box below. This program is no longer being updated by the original creator, but there is a forum with a bunch of people who are going to update and keep adding the new sets as they come along into Magic. The AI in this program, it's not very complicated. It's pretty basic. It just does some regular things like attacking, blocking, and playing some spells. But sometimes it could throw you a curveball and play some instants you might not expect. On the other hand, there are some cards that the AI is incapable of using because it's not programmed yet. This is a single player program only. There's no multiplayer component to it, so you can't play against your friends over the internet. But there are other programs that are very good for that. So why don't we dig into the program now and see how we're going to be using it. We're going to be using Quest Mode, as you can see in this category. I'm just going to take you through the parameters that I'm going to be putting this program through. On the top, we have the basic standard reward system. So you get credits after you win a match. And with credits, you can buy packs, you can buy individual cards. You can also buy some benefits to your character, your wizard, from the bazaar shop, like extra life, or starting with a creature in play, such as plans like a 1/1 white wolf, and you can upgrade those companion creatures into more formidable allies. But I don't think I'll be doing that. Maybe I can show you how it will work in a sample, but I don't think I'll be using that. I'll try and keep it as normal as possible. The booster pack ratios is going to be the standard 15 pack distribution. Each pack that we open is going to contain 1 rare, 3 uncommons, and 11 commons. Sometimes there's going to be an extra rare or a land as defined by the packs in real life. So going down to the next section, we have the difficulty adjustments. I modified this a little bit. We're going to get a pack every time we win against an opponent. I'm going to go for 100 wins, so 100 wins. So I'm going to keep it all in the easy. I'm going to be using easy mode because this is my first series. So it's going to, once we hit 100 wins, the series is going to end, so I'm going to put it as 100. We're going to start with 170 cards, 100 commons, 50 uncommons, and 20 rares. With this starting pool, which is completely random, it gives you a pretty good overview of what's available in all the sets in the format we're going to be playing in. Credits, as I mentioned, you earn by playing games, and we're also going to start with 500 of them. I'm going to give myself enough lands to create a bunch of decks. Hopefully I don't have to make too many decks, but if we run out of lands, we can buy them from the shop. I'm not sure what color bias is, but I'm just going to leave it at the default value of 6. In this series, I'm not going to penalize myself for a loss, but in the future, if I get good at Magic, I might add in a penalty, so that makes it harder for me. And finally, the shop preferences. These values just it determines how many cards are going to be in the shop when we go to it. So I'll leave that alone. Next, we're going to create a new quest. Here we're going to define what kind of cards will be available to us. I'm going to keep on easy mode. I'm not going to touch fantasy mode. I'm not sure what that is. But here we're going to define our starting pool. Let's go down to custom format. For this first series, I'm going to go with what I'm familiar with. I'm going to basically stick with the sets from Innistrad going up to Dragon's Maze. These are the sets that I played with when I got back into Magic with Gatecrash. So I'm going to just stick with this for my first run through because I don't want to bog down the whole video by not knowing what the cards really do. I'm not entirely in touch with all the cards and what they do, but I have a pretty good idea of what everything does, so I'm just going to keep it like that. And we're going to put in the core sets 2013, 2014 just to keep it relatively new. We're not going to touch the other sets because those are special and not really part of standard, which is the format I was playing when I was playing Gatecrash. Okay. The prize cards will be the same as the starting pool. That's fine. I'm not going to allow the unlock of additional editions. We want to keep it within this format. Balance distribution, I'm going to change that to a completely randomized distribution. I don't want it to be equal for all colors. I want it to be completely random, just the way it will be in real life. The main world, we have a couple of worlds here. These will determine what kind of opponents we'll be subject to. I'm just going to stick with the main world. I mean, we can do a different world next time, but for this one, I'm just going to stick with main world. So as soon as I click this button, we're going to start our amazing quest of Magic the Gathering. So let's hope we get some good cards, alright? Alright. We'll remember this quest as... I didn't actually think about this one, but let's just say MTGForge for YouTube. I'm sorry, I'm not very imaginative, but there we go. So now you see that our quest is now started. Our record is 0 and 0, and we can rename it later. So actually, if you guys want me to name this something, I'll just come back here, leave a comment, and I will rename it by popular demand. Next, we're going to look at what kind of cards we have to start with. Going to quest decks over here, we can build a new deck. On the left, this is a very great deck editor, by the way. It's very optimized for a very large amount of cards, so that sorting, as you can see, you can sort by any of these categories. This is very well written, and I'll be taking a lot of advantage of the great programming that was put into this program. That's funny, I said that word a lot. But okay, so let's sort by rarity, starting with our rares at the top to give a better idea of what we have in terms of powerful cards. We have this card, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with, and if you need to read what each card does, you can just pause the video and you can read it over here. If you can't read the picture over here, it does type out the effects over here in this box. So there you go. I'm just going to point out if there are any good cards that I know of. Cavern of Souls is a very good card if you're doing a creature-based deck, or if there's a creature that you just must get onto the field. One of the better abilities that it create mana of any color, and that the spell can't be countered. So that's a very interesting, powerful card that I might consider later. This card, not so much, but this one, I'm not really into Scavenge. I don't really consider that a powerful mechanic. Dearly Departed is a spirit, and it has to do with humans. Death's Presence. This one was interesting. I had built a mono green deck that kind of used this idea. You can get some pretty crazy big creatures that way. This card lets you search for a lot of cards. It's a multi-card Diabolic Tutor. This one is a 3-mana enchantment that helps you with your mana. 2/2 weenie with a lot of abilities. Looks like there's a lot of white so far, or things that have to do with white. This is a late game enchantment that takes creatures that you kill and put them onto your battlefield. Right, another white card for humans. This card I never really liked at all. I'm just going to skip it. Okay, this is another thing you can do. If there's a flip card, you can click it and it'll show you the other side. That's an interesting thing you could do if you didn't know that. This is a 3-mana first strike, and if it transforms, it becomes a double strike creature. And it also can't be... Oh, werewolves you control can't be blocked by 2 or more creatures. So that's a very good combat trick card. Lunar Mystic. I've never seen this card before. Okay, that seems pretty mana intensive, so I don't know about that, but it seems powerful. Alright, we got some legendary creature here. This is from Dragon's Maze, so it's one of those new uber powerful, expensive guild, guild masters, I guess. This one's pretty good, but I typically don't do very well with Izzet, so not that interesting to me. Scavenging Ooze, okay. I might use this card, maybe. Stolen Goods. That's interesting, but that's not really my style. Stony Silence, that's good if there's a lot of artifacts. Tyrant of Discord. Now that's interesting, but that's kind of expensive. But we'll see, maybe it'll be in a deck if it fits. Wit's End, I don't really like it. It's a 7-mana card that, you can probably get the same effect through a combination of lower costing cards. Aetherize. Alright, we're done with our rares already. So those are our rares. My initial feeling is that white is pretty good. White is pretty well represented. Along with black, I suppose. But I did talk a little bit about the green creatures, so right now it looks like white is in the lead with some support from green or some support from black. Maybe even some blue. Alright, so I'm just going to go through these. If I see something noteworthy, I'll stop and talk a little bit about it. Now there's another one for white that I could use. This one's kind of funny. It costs 6 mana because you could use 2 of your opponent's creatures to have them fight each other. It doesn't necessarily, it doesn't need you to have your own creature to fight. That's why it costs 6. That's interesting. I wish this effect was on a creature instead of an enchantment. I think that would make it much better. Well, Burning Tree Emissary. That's a pretty good card. So green's looking better now. Corrupt is alright if we're playing a white-black. Maybe a little bit more black orientated with some dual lands. Curse of Thirst, okay. Diregraph Captain. Well, we had some zombies. I'll probably hold on to this one. If I get some good zombie cards, I'm definitely inclined to go for a zombie deck. This one could be pretty good. It could be a 3/3 haste. And you can also pump your other creatures. So this is put into consideration, definitely. Alright. Feral Animist. Fettergeist. Fortress Cyclops. Pretty expensive. Okay, this card, if we get some good cards, I can definitely make a very nice deck for you guys. I play tested a deck using quest mode using this card. It was pretty awesome, so we'll keep that in mind. Alright, Goblin Rally. Alright, Gruel Charm. We have to remember which charms we have. Okay. This is a very strong card if we're fighting against zombie decks. Okay. Keep that in mind, that makes red a lot better. Okay. Alright, white blue makes a case for white blue if we get some more of those. The rings. Early on, I think the rings might be pretty good because they're pretty cheap and they can give you bigger creatures. But later on, I think there are better cards than that. Okay. Rush of Blood. Interesting. That might be interesting. It's a little bit expensive. Okay. Stormkirk. Vampires. Keep that in mind. Alright, that's pretty expensive for a card draw thing. Okay, Extort. We're going to have to look for that as a possible direction we can go for a deck. Alright, there's an anti-graveyard card. Okay, Tristani Summoner. It's interesting. Alright, this card we could eventually put into a deck that uses this kind of strategy. We'll keep that in mind. Okay, that one's not that good. This one is not that good due to the fact it's enchantment. Let's see. That's interesting, I guess. Okay, Blood Rush. That's a pretty good one if you need to get rid of a really big creature. I mean, if you're attacking into a big creature for that one. Okay, this one costs a lot. Okay, Ultra's Reap. Angelic Edict. Excuse me. Okay, some recycling. Avacyn's Pilgrim if I'm doing a green-white deck. Okay, another good early card for white. That one's alright for white too. This one's going into Exhort deck for sure. That's a pretty good one. Okay, Black Cat, not bad. Zombie, keep that in mind. Okay. Let's see here. Anything else that's really good? This card is really silly. -13, -0. Okay. We have some Simic going on here. Okay. That's interesting. Zombie. Okay. Defang. I must have seen like 30 of these at a draft I did with my friend. Oh my goodness, I'm sick of seeing that guy in his bloody mouth. Okay, protection from zombies. Okay, counterspell, divination, Doom Traveler. Okay, that could be in a white human deck, or a white and something else human deck. Okay, Dreampipe Vermin, Dramatic Rescue, Dream Twist, a milling card. Not that good of one either. Okay. Okay, we might be starting off with a black-white exhort slash human deck. I mean, we saw a bunch of cards that are kind of going towards that strategy. Okay, that's not interesting. That's not that interesting. Fog, good old fog. We've all been screwed over by that card once in our Magic playing career. Geist Trappers, interesting. That's it's a little bit worse than Mock Fanatic, right? Yeah. Okay, we got some Gates. Golgari though. Okay, okay. Hired Torturer. It's a human, so we can sacrifice that, and it's a pretty good defender for the price. Okay. Keening Apparition. It's a 2-mana 2/2 with something you can use it for, just in case. I'll keep that in mind. I don't have that many multicolored yet. However, the sets that we're playing with, there's a lot of powerful multicolored permanents. So, alright. Regenerate target creature. Some more counter spell. Death Touch. We'll probably put this in if we're doing a white-black. Early on, of course. I mean, there'll be much better cards than that. That's interesting. I probably make the deck just because we don't have enough white or black cards, right? Okay. Draw a card, discard a card. Interesting. Scroll of Avacyn. I don't think we'll be having that. Okay, what is this? Exalted. Human. Black. Yeah, my impression of my starting cards, we're going to be going with a black-white deck. And not much else is going on, unfortunately. There's a Boros card. Gain 1 life. Is that a human? It is a human. Dealt damage. Deals that much damage to his controller. Okay, 3 mana, 2/3 flying. Alright, extort. Got another one. That's good. Discard a card. Draw a card. Well, I don't think we're going to have much red. So I'm not even going to look at the red cards anymore. Trestle Troll. Exile target creature, then populate. I don't have many creature tokens though. Okay, Undying Evil. Just stick it in there just in case. Vow Rebirth. That'll probably make it just as another creature. This one will be useful. And that's it. No, there's a couple more. Don't sell me short there. Okay, it's a 2/3. It's a flip. 2/4/6. Voice of the Provinces. I think this will have to go in, even though it's so horribly overcosted. Oh, and a zombie. Alright, and then we got our lands. So, looking at our cards, my first impression is we're going to be going with a black-white deck. We got more red cards, actually. Oh, these symbols I didn't tell you earlier. We have a total of 670 cards. We have 500 lands. And then we have 170 other cards, right? Okay, so we have these. You can click them, actually, and it'll filter through those colors. So right now we got rid of every card that's not green. If we take out all the colors and we just have artifacts and we have lands. Oops. You can also remove multicolored. And then here you have things like instants. sorceries, planeswalkers, enchantments, creatures, artifacts, and lands. So as you can see, this deck editor is very impressive. So I'm not gonna pick my colors yet, but I'm just gonna throw it out there that black-white looks to be the right choice for us. We're gonna go over here and explain where we're gonna spend most of this series looking at when we're in the menus. This is where we find opponents, our duel screen. We always are given 3 opponents we can choose from. They have random names, and they have cute little pictures here. Catwoman, Joked, and Wilma Flintstone. And then next to them they also have how difficult their deck is judged to be. That usually takes into account which cards are in there, how strong their strategy is, and so on. And they give you a little description. They tell you what colors usually, this being black, green. It gives you a couple of cards that they focus around. And this one, Catwoman, would be a white-green deck, is a cat deck, so it's a tribal cat deck. And then whereas this one is a white-black deck with these 2 that they focus around. Sorry. So here we can see some statistics. I'm going to put this information again on the top of the screen here for you. But you can also see it over here in case you're playing this at your own on your own. Excuse me. So here you can see that when we start the quest, we don't start with 20 life. We start with 15 life. We'll end up having to spend a couple of credits increasing our starting life to 20. That's going to be one of my first priorities, just so I can create the most realistic Magic simulation experience for you guys. Above that we have the win streak, how many wins I've had in a row, and it gives you a little neato, no, this is the best streak you've ever been on this quest. This here tells you how many credits you have currently, wins and losses. Here, travel, we have 3 buttons. Travel is, remember earlier, there were a couple of worlds we could go to, main world being the one we are in. You can click here and you can travel to other worlds, giving you new opponents. I believe in Ravnica you will be fighting against guilds, and in the other ones, whatever they would represent. The spell shop is the shop where I told you can trade cards, buy cards, and sell cards. And the bazaar is where you can do your upgrades. Let me just take you down to the bazaar real quick. So we have a bunch of different characters here. We have the alchemist, banker, bookstore, gear, nursery, and pet shop. The alchemist controls how much life you start with. You could sorry. I would need to fix this. This is not correct. But you could buy extra life for 250, and you can also sell your starting life to get some extra credits. So you can do either one. Going here into banker, you have 2 more things. You can either get estates, which lets you win more credits by winning matches, and it also gives you a better return rate when you sell cards to the shop. You have a penalty of about 80% penalty starting, and you can increase that a little bit by buying estates. The lucky coin, sometimes after a match if you win, you'll get an additional rare, and you can buy a lucky coin to increase the chance of getting that. The rare would be one within your prize pool, so you can't get like a old card with that coin. In the bookstore you have sleight of hand. You can purchase this bonus which allows you to mulligan once for free every game. This is pretty useful, but like I said, I won't be using most of these. For gear, you can buy an adventurer's map. This allows you to change. This allows you to have challenges. Challenges is another thing where you have to play against a deck with extra rules, such as sometimes they'll give you enchantments that either hinder you or give you benefit and your opponent too, or say that whenever you play a certain kind of spell that your opponent gets a benefit, such as whenever you play a black spell your opponent gains 2 life. It's just random stuff like that. So challenges are pretty fun. When they pop up, I'll definitely be including that in my run. Here in the nursery, you can develop a plant. Plants and pet shop, they give you creatures that you can use that are in play on your side at the beginning of every fight. So if you purchase this plant, you'll start with 1/01 green plant that has defender. So it's very good. It's a very, very cost efficient way to start your career at just 100 credits. It's really nice, and you get a 0/1 chump blocker. It's great. And if you have something that counts green permanents, well, there you go. You have a head start. The pet shop gives you creatures that are not defender, and they have one for each color. So you have apes. Apes, is for green. You have the bird for blue, crocodile for black, hound for red, and wolf for white. They cost a little bit more, but the investment is definitely worth it. It's a free creature from the very beginning. I think it's a little bit too powerful, but I'm not going to be having these in my run anyway. Let's go back to Alchemist. Yeah, things seem to have corrected themselves. Must have been a bug from one of my earlier quests. Alright, so that's the bazaar. And now we're going to go back. Just X out of that. And we're going to go visit the spell shop. In the middle here, this is our current collection. Has all the cards that we have right now. Over here on the left is now where we have the cards that the store is selling. So you can see on the top, I should not do that. Here, you can see that they have booster packs and they have, they have fat packs and things of that nature. They have pre-built decks. Okay? And the price of these things are pretty high. It's much more than a rare. A rare being 120 credits. And a booster pack costing 395 credits. But it is cheaper than a mythic. So if you get a mythic, you pretty much make a nice amount. But I'm not going to buy these usually unless you want me to do this. Unless you want me to only be eligible to buy booster packs instead of singletons. But that's not something I was considering at first. So if that's something you want me to do, I'll probably add that to my next run of a quest. But for this one, I'm mainly going to concentrate on these singletons. You can look through here and they have all different kinds of cards. If you want it, you buy it. The price is listing over here in the third column. A mythic, no matter what mythic it is, will always cost 600. And a rare will cost 120. Every price is set depending on rarity, not on each individual card. So if there are really good uncommons and commons, you have a really good deal, because you don't need to pay that much to get a really good card. But a rare is always going to be 120 no matter how good or bad it is. So keep that in mind and make smart purchases if you do it on your own. So we can go through here. We have some pretty good cards here. We're going to mainly focus on black-white. So if we see something like, okay, a Johnny might be something that we would consider. It's a Planeswalker, we don't have one yet. And it's a white card, so we might consider that. And then we have a bunch of artifacts. But since we are going to we're going to choose our colors, I'm not going to go through the spell shop just yet. I would like to pick our colors based on the starting cards that we started with. Wow. Okay, so once we pick our colors, we'll head back into the spell shop and we'll see how we can improve our deck. To reiterate, I personally believe that the best way to start this quest is to pick a white-black deck and kind of run with the extort mechanic. And if there's something else that I missed, please let that be known through comment. If there's something that's wrong with my video and you would like me to improve, I am definitely doing this to improve my own communication and talking skill. I also do this because I'm passionate about Magic. I really love this program so much because it has allowed me to spend many hours, on it, concentrating, brainstorming, and generally enjoying myself. And I hope that this might inspire you to start your own Magic career. And this is a great way to start without having to go out and spend a lot of money. You can definitely learn the game. If you have questions about how to play the game, feel free to ask me. I would love to answer any questions about that. And I guess for now, I'm just going to say, I hope we have a really good quest. I would like to thank you for taking the time to listen to me and for showing your interest in this series. I will be doing this until I get 100 wins, and then we'll come back and look back, see how well we did. I'm sure we'll have many enjoyable experiences, surprises, and maybe even some educational value for the veterans of the Magic scene that you might not have noticed when you are going through these cards. Maybe some hidden synergies and whatnot. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.